The industrial countries are making no real headway, and the emerging markets keep struggling. As a consequence, the world economy is still not really seeing a big breakthrough. Oliver Rakau from Deutsche Bank Research. Looking at the new DBIX, that is also telling a story of quite modest development and rather negative development.
That's true. We have another decline of the DBIX. It's still on a moderate level, pointing to moderate global growth. But if you look at the different countries, there's no clear pattern. Some countries have seen a bit weakening of their sentiment levels. Some countries have seen an improvement in the latest round of sentiment data. And so far, there's no clear pattern, except it seems to go on this moderate level that we've seen in the last 2 years maybe. It just looks like it's going to keep on going on a moderate level next year as well.
Let's talk about two political issues that also have effects within the economic arena. The one is, of course, the Islamic terrorism that has been playing a very crucial, very important role in November due to the Paris attacks. Siemens CEO Joe Kaeser, he is stating that insecurities for the investment climate might be a consequence in the following months. Is that something that you see as a realistic scenario?
Definitely. We cannot really pinpoint any sizable impact, that's true, but it's certainly not going to help on the margin. Some companies might just be willing to wait a bit longer to see how the geopolitical arena reacts to those attacks. We have seen intensified attacks in Syria. We have seen some developments inside France, for example, where they're saying, okay, we are going to invest more into security. How all of this is playing out on the political arena might just force some companies to postpone investment decisions. That's certainly true. But to forecasting in any way a sizable economic impact is very hard, and we don't really see one. But on the margin, it's certainly not helping sentiment.
Probably very hard to tell what sort of economic effects the second big political issue also has, which is climate change. There's the COP21, the Climate Change Summit in Paris. Germany's Minister of Environment, Hendricks, she argues that climate change is actually creating employment and welfare. What do you say?
It's hard to say. In the end, I think saving the climate, which is the stated goal of this, is a political decision, and then economists should talk about how to achieve this at the most cost-effective way. Is it itself increasing growth or giving sustainable development? Maybe it's making growth more sustainable, but not necessarily faster, because especially initially we have high costs of lower carbon dioxide production methods, which are going to the balance of either companies or consumers or the state. And so far it definitely has a lot of high economic costs, which on balance don't necessarily need to be better for the overall economy. But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done. That's a political decision. I would argue, though, that there are sometimes a lot smarter ways of going about it.
Let's briefly look at the European Central Bank that decided to extend the bond purchasing program at the beginning of December. Was that the right measure at the right time?
Hard to say. We have had a very robust development of the European economy this year. It has been supported by some supportive factor like the weak euro and dropping oil prices that have stimulated consumer demand. But overall, there was no clear need to do a lot on the central bank front in our view. Yes, inflation is still weak. On the other hand, we have robust growth of the real economy, and we still have oil prices that weigh on inflation. If you exclude that effect, we have rather stable or improving core inflation, which is one of the measures the ECB is looking at. So it wasn't clear from the beginning if there needed to be a big package, and actually in the end the ECB has disappointed markets because their communication before the meeting suggested something much bigger might be coming.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rakau. Yeah, looking at the European Central Bank and of course beyond, it has been quite an eventful year, economic year for Europe, for the Eurozone. We want to take the chance and look back and look at the past 12 months. Has it been a good year? Has it been a rather disappointing year for Europe and for the Eurozone? We want to do that in our focus interview. You can see that, as you know, online at DW's webpage of Made in Germany.